What's up, everybody? This is episode 112 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to everybody that's been supporting us thus far. For those that haven't seen any of our episodes yet, go check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. But before we start, we got to pay some bills real quick. So this episode is sponsored by the Players Circle. I discovered the Players Circle in the App Store when we were trying to find a product to track athletes. The Players Circle is a social video platform where players can share their stats, highlights, and accomplishments. If you can hoop, if you want to get discovered, then you should join the Players Circle. So go on the App Store right now, download the Players Circle. It's an experience you ain't gonna never forget if you love basketball. But without further ado, we have a very special guest this evening. He is a man that really cares all about his community. He's a philanthropist, a businessman. You may know him from some hip-hop circles. You may know him from living in the Bronx. You may know him from some of his interviews. But tonight I have with us Mr. Scott LaRock Jr. Scott, thank you for coming on to share your story, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you.
Indeed. So let's start. So when did the love of the game of basketball start for you?
Maybe like 6.
Okay.
My grandfather, he was a Knicks fan. And I went up there every weekend as a kid. And we would watch the games. And there was a court in the backyard. He'd take me out there. He'd play with me and teach me things. I started to love the game then.
Indeed. So, talk about growing up on 183rd and Webster Avenue.
Coming up on Webster, man, I mean, everybody might know it as like a place that's not, I guess, one of the nicest you could say, but I mean, I got more good memories than bad did. You know what I mean? Like, we did the same things a lot of kids did. I mean, we hooped all day, we played manhunt, you know what I mean? There was another aspect to that when you was a kid, you didn't really understand growing up there. As you get older, you start to see it, you get more active, you get involved in those elements. But as a young kid growing up out there, we just was hooping.
Indeed. So for those of you guys that may not know, Scott is the son of a hip-hop legend, the late Scott LaRock Sr. As a 1-year-old, Scott was in the video that came out in 1988 called My Philosophy. So if y'all got time, go on YouTube, go check it out. So, as a kid, unfortunately your father passed away when you were just a toddler. What are some of the stories that you always hear about him? Like, was it like, how did it feel as a kid when, people told you that, how famous your father was?
As a kid, like, if I'm be honest with you, like, you don't really know or understand much. So I don't want to say I didn't care, but like, it's like you're oblivious to a lot of the stuff, you know what I mean? You don't really understand the magnitude of or his impact or anything like that. You just understand your circumstance. You know what I mean? And I knew that it wasn't like a circumstance of somebody who was famous. So, it's like, yeah, okay, but I'm not living that. You know? Like, so I don't understand. I didn't understand a lot of like what people would say, oh, yo, you Scott LaRock, son. You know what that means? Nah, I don't. I didn't for a long time. You know what I mean? Until I got old enough to understand who he was, what he did, what his impact was. And then it started to make sense. But most of my life, I never walked around talking about, yo, Scott LaRock, my pops. I'm from Webster. Got more than you got. You might not make it home. You know what I mean? So certain things was better off left unsaid.
Makes sense. Like a lot of even in your interview with Doggy Diamonds, he was surprised. He's like, oh, basically like, you grew up in the Bronx, you grew up in the hood. Like he was kind of surprised that you came from, a regular upbringing like everybody else. Just because of who you are, that doesn't make you, larger than life. You know what I'm saying? Like people still lead regular lives. It doesn't matter who their name is.
I think the misconception a lot of times is I'm a hip hop kid. That's You know what I mean? That's the misconception. That Scholar Rock son, he one of them hip hop kids. He grew up like Diggy Simmons or one of them kids. My life wasn't nothing like Diggy Simmons in them life. I did a lot of things in the street that I'd never do again to survive. You know what I'm saying? So Diggy and them ain't have to take them risks. You know what I mean? Like they succeeded. Their father succeeded on a different level. My father was big before multi-million-dollar record deals. You know what I mean? So back then, the money they was getting was life-changing. But if you look at it today and you see the value of what they was taking back then in terms of what they get now, it's nothing. Right. So I up like Diggy in them. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't my circumstance. That's how I came up the same way you came up, like the same way pretty much everybody else came up with the antenna, cable. I mean, like that's how it went for us.
Yeah, man. Living on Section 8, government cheese.
Opening the stove, opening the oven in the winter, get some heat. Yeah. Like from that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, but that's the misconception people get. Like, only one of them hip hop, he came up like such and such or such and such. Nah, that's not my story.
Exactly. Like the song that the song that Ghostface Killer did on that album with Mary J. Blige. That's everybody's real life. That's everybody's story. If you grew up in the hood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that was probably your upbringing too, where you had to share a bed with multiple brothers and sisters and stuff like that.
Yeah, and even like it's very few like of the hip hop kids who have the life like Russell Simmons kids got or T.I. kids got. I know a lot of the kids like that come up that's around our age, you know what I mean? That came up they had a pops who was a big deal in the 80s, and they regular. You know what I'm saying? So people got to understand it's a big difference between landing a record deal today and landing a record deal in 1986. And the difference is financial for the most part. You understand what I'm saying? They wasn't giving you $10 million record deals, $13 million record deals in 1986. That was unheard of for hip hop. At that time, getting a record deal was an accomplishment. You know what I mean? That was something to write home about. It didn't really matter how much money you got. You knew you was on your way to get some money at that time. Now they're giving $10, $15 million up front to these cats. Wasn't like that. Wasn't like that for my pops. Wasn't like that for Big Pun, for example. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see his son and his moms, they just dragged Joe to court and got their money back because it's a lot of shit that goes. And then it's a lot of shit that goes on when, for example, you got how old was Chris Rios when Pun died?
So we'll say maybe 6 years old.
He didn't know nothing about his father's legacy. He didn't know the value. So all them years, the people that knew, you think they was gonna tell him? You understand what I'm saying? So it's like he was getting greased all these years. The money was going somewhere. The royalty stopped coming, but they wasn't gonna tell him and his mother. So they could get that money. Somebody else was claiming it. They found out, took it to court, their money back. That's the other side of this shit that people don't understand too. So when I go on somewhere like Yogi Diamonds and I say certain things, it's because I have a knowledge of the situation. Yeah, somebody with no perspective could say, yo, I'm bitter, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the third. I watch billionaires sue people for their weekly salary and nobody says Donald Trump is bitter, but if I want to take somebody to court because I grew up in the hood and I was entitled to $10 million that was left behind by my father's legacy, I'm bitter. Yeah, man. I think, hey, if somebody owed you $10 million, you go get it. If somebody owed you $1 million, you go get it. If somebody owed you $100,000, you're going to get that.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's that situation, right?
Yeah, man. So yeah, I also heard, that you were pretty talented ball player as a kid. So I went on a podcast called Bars and Hoops in Long Island this past weekend. And one of the hosts said that he knew you. His name was Dre from 183rd and Webster.
Dre from 183rd. He probably know me. I'm from 183rd and Webster.
So he's like, yo, Scott was nice. You know what I'm saying?
Short dude.
Bald head, yeah.
Bald head, brown skin.
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah.
Yeah. From my building. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know Dre. Hell yeah, I know.
Shout outs to Dre from Bars and Hoops, man. You know, they showed love this weekend, you know. But so let's talk about Scott as a kid. What was Scott like?
I ain't gonna lie, I just hooped all day, bro. I didn't really care about too much of nothing else growing up. Like, if it wasn't the back of the building in the projects, it was Webster PAL. If it wasn't Webster PAL, Boys and Girls Club. If it wasn't there, it was Washington Park. We found some way to play every day. I played ball like all day, every day, bro. Like coming up until a certain point. Then it was like I had 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right. So, like, what were some of the tournaments that you loved playing in as a kid?
I always liked to. You remember Young World?
Yeah, I was. By the time I was old enough to actually see that, I don't think it was around then. I never got to see Young World.
I always liked playing in Young World. I like playing there. I like playing at the beach. For some reason, I always liked the beach. Since I was a kid, I always liked the beach, and I always did good at the beach. Like, I liked the beach. I never really liked West Fourth. She was too small.
That's true.
I liked watching a lot. And I used to play in all the hood shits growing up. Like, if you had a tournament in your hood, I was coming to play. I didn't care where it was at. I was just coming to play. If they was bouncing the ball, I wanted to play. I didn't care. I played for Webster PAL. So a whole bunch of big time opportunities and nothing like that. We was playing wherever we could play at. So that's the kind of mindset I had. Like, I play anywhere against anybody. I didn't care.
Yeah, man. Nah, but Webster PAL. I've probably been in there maybe once. It's a nice court.
They did it over.
It's small, but it's a nice court.
Yeah, it's small in there. Ain't no seating room or nothing like that. It's a nice court.
Yeah,
but every night we used to go in there and play.
So Washington Park, that's the court right by going towards Fordham, right?
Nah, that's actually Webster Park. That's on 188th and Webster. You talking about
Webster Park. Yeah. Okay. What tournament is in there? Because I know that there was some tournament over there over the summer.
My man Antoine, he started a tournament in there this past summer. It was actually pretty good too. He actually did his thing. Like, he got some good players in there. Nice turnout, couple of good teams. It was cool.
Yeah, I gotta go check that out, man. Because cool. Some people that I know, shout outs to my guy Maurice Odom. He's a junior at Union City, in New Jersey. I think he won the MVP out there, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, it was it seemed like there was a lot of good stuff going on last year without the pandemic. But before we get to that, let's continue on about you. Did you ever get to play high school ball?
I played at like 3 high schools, man.
All right, name the 3.
I played at St. Thomas Mall. I played at Storm King Prep in Cornwall.
Okay.
And then Bronx Regional in the Bronx.
All right. Let's talk about St. Thomas More. You went there first?
Yeah, I was there as a freshman with Greg Johnson, PlayStation.
Okay. Let's talk about that experience.
Where do I start with that? No girls. My first time out the city. Not my first time out the city, but my first time staying outside of the city. My first time on my own. There's no girls on campus. We got every day to school. Man, that shit was like a culture shock, bro. Like, I had never, like, some of the shit that was going on there, like, it was just like, yo, people do this? like every day. Like, yo, y'all get up every day and y'all want to get dressed like this. Like, y'all want to do this. Like, and you know, like our school system is fucked in the city. You know what I'm saying? So to go out there, and I was a bright kid, but I had never been challenged. You know what I mean? So to go out there and actually be challenged, I ain't gonna lie, I fought that shit like hell. Cause I got accustomed to doing just enough to get by, you know what I mean? Because that's what they allow me to do in the city. And then I tried to apply that shit to practice and shit like that. And they don't have that shit there. Like Coach Quinn, he's not having it. Jerry Quinn is not having you take no shortcuts if he brought you in there. Like, that's not the way that's gonna go. I stood there till after my sophomore year. I had a family situation play out, and I got out of there and I went to something closer to home. I had
Storm King. Well, like, where is Storm King Prep?
It's actually right there by, you know where West Point is?
I've been to West Point because when I was a manager at St. Francis, we actually got to play the Army.
Probably 10 minutes up the road.
Okay.
It's like right around there. But what made it work for me was they had the Metro North system there, and you could go straight from there to 2/5. And once I got to 2/5, I knew how to get home, G. You know what I'm saying? So when I had to come back some weekends to help out at home with my family, things like that, coming all the way from St. Thomas More, the trip was way more expensive to get home every weekend, to get back at the end of every weekend, because you had to take like 2 Amtrak trains, then the Metro North.
Jesus Christ. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So it was like, I'm spending $100 to come home every time I need to come home. My family need me home right now. I got to get as close to home as I can, but I ain't trying to go home. So that was the best option for me at that time. And it was a step down in terms of competition. Because Thomas More was an A division school. Storm King was B.
Right.
So lesser competition going there too. But it was just something I had to do at the time.
Okay.
And then after that, that's when I just went into a street phase and I wasn't really in school at all. And that's how I stumbled upon Bronx Regional. Some girl from my building, she was going there. And I was just hooping. And she was like, yo, why don't you just go to school and play ball? I'm like, yo, it's quiet for school. I've been out of school maybe 18 months. She was like, my school will take you. Now, I mean, and I'm telling her, like, yo, no school gonna take me right now. I'm out on bail for a felony charge.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And she said, my school will take you. So she kept telling me that. So one morning I just got up, grabbed my shit, and I went over there. And they took me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I happened to be, and I wasn't going there with the intention to play ball. I needed like 4 classes. I was trying to graduate high school, get my mom's off my back, get her to leave me alone about certain shit. So it wasn't really for me to hoop. I was in the gym fucking around because I had a free period because I didn't have a lot of classes. But I had like a period in between my next class, and I didn't want to go all the way back home and come back. So I'm just in the gym. I asked the gym teacher for a ball. I'm just shooting around. The gym teacher calls the coach. So the coach walks in the gym. So he runs down. Yo, you know, we've been in practice for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. You're not gonna play? Like, yo, I don't play ball no more. You know what I mean? Like, I don't play ball no more. I just came in, knock out my classes. I don't hoop. Like, I'm into other stuff. I don't really got time for that. But I'm in the street doing a whole bunch of stupid shit. I mean, I got a couple dollars, but it's like, I should have been playing ball. You know what I'm saying? But he stood on me, like, every day. Until I just cracked one day, like, yo, bro. Like, he challenged me one day, like, what you think? You scared? What you think you gonna fail? I'm like, yo, bro, your team suck. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody good. You talking about I'm gonna fail. Fail against who? Prove it. I said, all right, I'm gonna come cook y'all. That was his plan all along. I'm gonna finesse this little nigga because he got an ego. I'm gonna finesse him right in the plan for me. And that's what he did. And it probably was one of the best decisions I made because I think it saved my life. Like, fuck ball, my life. Like I said, I was on bail for a felony charge at that time. He went to court and spoke to the judge and advocated for me to finish my school year and let me go away to college.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Hold on. I'm sorry, Scott. So was the coach's name Wade Williams?
Yep, Coach Wade.
Wow.
Yep, I still talk to Wade to this day. He down in Georgia. You know what I mean? Like, Wade saved my life. Like, aside from basketball, like I'm talking about my real life. And I didn't know, but like, you know, the alumni come in and they telling me like, yo, and I heard similar stories from a few guys. Like, yo, that's who he is. You know what I mean? That's what he do. He take niggas like us who done fucked up and he get them back right. Because he don't give up on kids. You know what I mean? So he saved my life, bro. He the reason I finished high school. He the reason I did anything.
Wow, man. Shout outs to Wade Williams, man. You graduated high school in 2004?
Oh, hell no.
It's all right, man.
Hell no. I told you I was for 18 months.
Oh, so 2005.
06.
Okay.
From 2000 to 2002, I was at St. Thomas More.
Okay.
From, I want to say 03 to maybe like the start of 05, I was at Storm King. I got kicked out of there. I was in the gym and I punched a kid.
Oh, damn, Scott. You a wild dude.
Nah, he was wild, no. I'm going to tell you what happened, though. I didn't just punch a nigga. We was hooping, and I was getting impressed to him. He was trying to impress the coach. And I might have went to the basket one time, and he punched me in my dick. So I told him, like, yo, bro, you wildin'.
Damn.
You know what I mean? He's like, my fault. Like, it was an accident. So I'm like, all right, things happen, you know what I mean? So I let it ride. I didn't hit him right away. The shit happened 2 more times.
He was asking for it.
I said, yo, this shit ain't no accident. Know what I mean? Now, everybody in the gym could see what he doing. As soon as I hit him, it became a problem.
Wow.
Feel me? But me not understanding what I look like and where I'm at, it only why I was the fall guy in the situation. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was at where I was at. I look like what I look like. And right or wrong, I'm wrong. Because I'm not paying to be here. And I look like what I look like.
That's crazy, man.
Everything he did. And we just gonna point out the fact that you hit him and spin it like you just punched him for no reason.
Yeah, man, that's wild, man. They take away good opportunities from the youth just because of some dumb shit. That's wild, man.
I wasn't upset, honestly, because 10 minutes later I knew I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew better than that. I'm saying, like, I knew better than that. Because I had been faced with situations like that before, but I was going through shit at home. My grandmother had just died. Wasn't really trying to hear it. You feel me? So I lost, like, control of myself in that moment. And I knew I should have handled it differently. I should have just finished the game and respectfully walked off the court. Like, y'all can have this shit. You understand what I'm saying? But I wasn't in the space that I needed to be in at that time. And I probably cost myself opportunity. I don't blame him. Because I got kicked out of school and he became a starting guard.
Oh, the player that you punched?
Yeah.
Wow. So you think it was premeditated? Like he did that just so he could get basically an opportunity?
Looking back in hindsight, maybe he didn't think it was going to go that far. But he was trying to push my buttons because he couldn't play as well as me.
Right.
And we played the same position.
So he basically felt you was a threat. In other words,
I was already the starter from the second I had got there. I came from a school and I played well there. This is a B division school. Like, the coach had already penciled me in as a starter.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a situation where I was competing with nobody. I had the job. Otherwise, I wouldn't have came there. I just came back home. I was already talking to Johnny Mathis at the time, and I was going to go to Kennedy with Amari Furman in him. I was going to play on that team. I just decided to go to Storm King. It's not. It wasn't like, oh, this is his job. I'm just coming in out of nowhere. No, this is my job. You knew what it was. And I guess that was his way of getting it. And not for nothing, he got it.
Oh, so basically chances are you probably would have been on that 2005 team at Kennedy.
The city championship team?
Yeah.
I practiced with them for like a week and a half.
Oh, wait, so you were enrolled at Kennedy for a week. Oh, wow.
I'm going to tell you who got at Kennedy. Star. Star is the reason I didn't stay at Kennedy.
What did he do?
He was a school aide in Kennedy at that time. And he was the nigga I had met in my life at that point. Because I didn't come to Kennedy with the intentions of getting attention from nobody, doing nothing extravagant, nothing. I knew Mathis, and I knew Amari, I knew Dwight, I knew Gabi, I knew like the whole LPAC crew was in there. So I'm like, I'm a hoop because those are my guys. You don't got to chase me around the school every day acting like, first of all, he wasn't a coach at the time. But he chasing me around the school asking me about basketball practice and all that every day, all day long. So I'm thinking this nigga a coach. I go to practice, he not there. So now I'm like, yo, Kool-Aid, leave me alone. But he just kept harassing me all day. So I got out of there.
Wow.
So, yo, it is crazy. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I got classes to take. Like, what is he doing?
You just wanted...
I'm in the hallway when I got a 1 through 3.
Yeah.
I got a 1 through 3. It's 4th period. I'm in the hallway, bro. Right. What can you tell me? Leave me alone.
Yeah, did he even bother to ask like, yo, what's your schedule looking like? Da-da-da-da. Wow. Oh, well, but I mean, yeah. You had quite a journey, man. Shout outs to the Bronx Regional graduating class of 2006. What I was about to say was that I actually work at an alternative high school too in Brownsville. Everybody knows that. Shout outs to BDA. You know what I'm saying? We help kids, you know, in situations just like yours. You know what I'm saying? Like you were that one, you know what I'm saying? You were that kid that basically was going through situations, you know, legal situations. Like, let's just be honest. Like a lot of the kids in alternative schools, there might be a lot of kids that's, you know, been in trouble with the legal system.
Person in Bronx Regional with a case at that time?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids that got cases, and they need to be in, like, basically, like, there's programs to where basically a lot of these kids, they need to be in school so that they could get the law off their back.
The environment of Bronx Regional, it made somebody, like, see, like, this is what you got to understand. This is my perspective. Let me not say, like, this is a general perspective. This is my perspective of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
18, going on 19-year-old, right? I can't walk in Kennedy High School and sit in no class with no 16-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's just not going to happen. I'm in the street. That's when you get money. So an alternative school was like the perfect storm, actually. Like, it was like, it's an environment for the people that's going to understand what's going on. They're not oblivious to what's going on. If I say I got a case in here, nobody's running for the hills, none of that.
Right.
It made you comfortable in a sense, like, because you was around people that was like you or going through something similar.
Right.
So that was the perfect place for me to finish up, because
right.
I don't think I up nowhere else.
Right. Because, like, honestly, I feel like the teachers, the people at the alternative school, they care a little bit more about the kids than the traditional high schools. The traditional high schools, like, you got basically 500 to 1,000 kids. You know, now schools are much smaller, but still, like, they have all, like, basically it's easy for them to miss out on things. Like, when maybe a kid could be missing for 4 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's looking out. But in an alternative school, they pick up on that fast.
Mm-hmm. I think in an alternative school, I think you don't take a job at an alternative school unless you care about kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you understand what I'm saying? Because it wasn't just Wade in there. Like, that whole staff helped me. Know what I mean? Like, from the principal to everybody, to the art teacher, to my history professor, like everybody helped me there to make sure that I was able to be successful there. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, like my transition into going to school again and all that shit wasn't easy. Yeah. I had been out of school for 18 months. I wasn't used to sitting in no chair with somebody telling me, yo, turn to page 14. I didn't want to hear that shit. They bear with me though, you know what I mean? And at a regular school, they won't. They'll just let you fade out. They stuck with me, even when I was a little disrespectful, even when I was late. You know what I mean? Like they stuck with you.
Right.
So if you failed at a place like that, it was because you just really didn't want to do it. That's how I felt. And it was like, I came here to do it. And if y'all gonna help me and make it this easy for me to do it, I might as well get it done.
Yeah. And of course, the DOE, which we all know is shit based on what's been going on this past year. Like, you know what I'm saying? We all see what happened. And the dude from the old Chancellor Carranza, like he left the city in shambles, man. Like,
that's why you got a lot of people. Like, I do the youth mentorship thing. Like, I'm heavy on that. You know what I mean? And I do it for that purpose. Where these kids gonna get the knowledge and what they need from? We can't expect the Board of Education, the DOE. We can't expect the city to do it. Mm-hmm. We got to educate our young. Like, that's up to us. That's a responsibility that we have.
Exactly.
You educated yourself. I educated myself. There's a lot of educated brothers running around here in our hoods. Now, I mean, just because they ain't Wall Street, I mean, they stupid. And we need to step up and start taking these kids and showing them the way. And a lot of us have, like, I know for me, life has been my best teacher. I'm able to relate with kids or speak to kids or get a kid to understand a perspective that you may not be able to because I've been through shit in life. And it's not to say you haven't been through shit, but some of the experiences I have, these kids are experiencing right now on the street. So I use basketball as a bridge for a lot of these kids. It's a bridge to talk about life. It's a bridge to connect with other people. It's a bridge. It's not just a game. You understand what I'm saying? So I use, all right, cool. You like the hoop? Boom. All right, well, I'm gonna throw y'all in a couple of tournaments, but I gotta see your report card.
We're gonna get into that later. before we're gonna get to that later, bro. But yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, man. I want to get into that later. But yeah, you know, talk about, you know, you did mention, you know, that you caught a felony when you were a youth. How old were you when you caught that felony, and were you scared? Did you think like, damn, bro, like this potentially altered my life?
I'm not. I was 18, and I want to say I wasn't scared at all. I had been outside long enough to understand the consequences for my action. I had seen enough of my friends go through it, enough of my OGs go through it. So by the time I was 18, it was like, mentally, I was prepared for it. And physically, I was 6'1", like almost 200. So physically, I could hold my own. I mean, so it was no aspect of it that scared me. But it's pointless. Like, to put yourself in situations where they just lock you in a room and sit you there forever, it's pointless. Yeah. There's so much other things you could be doing aside from risking it. But nobody will tell you that. Where we come from, most people won't tell you that. And the people that will tell you that, you don't listen to because so many other people telling you that's not the way. So the negative influence is so heavy in our communities that we won't even listen to that one or two positive voice that's out there. Because they shit sound like a whisper amongst the screams from the masses telling you to put this flag on your head and join the set.
That peer pressure is real, man. Coming from places where we come from, man, that peer pressure is real. Like, my mom, like, my brother goes to Hayes. He's an honor roll student. You know, he's a freshman. Like, my mom, she doesn't even want him taking the train. But I keep telling her that sometimes, like, anything could happen anywhere. Like my mom, she would prefer that my brother takes the bus to school. But then again, a bus can get shot up. When you in the train station, like, at least police is over there. You know what I'm saying? At least you got police around. the buses, you're not gonna have no police around.
I had a conversation with a rapper yesterday, right?
Right.
And he was talking about the kid 6ix9ine, right? And we wasn't talking about him telling or whatever the case may be, because everybody understands that situation.
Right.
But talking about it from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about it from the perspective of monkey see, monkey do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what I mean when I say that is somebody painted their hair blue, right? So I'm gonna go paint my hair green because he got rich painting his hair blue. And somebody was saying that's not being true to who you are, this, that, and the third. I don't think we're in a time where people really care about that. I think we're in a time where people doing what the fuck they feel they need to do to get this some money.
Right.
So when 6ix9ine went and painted his hair a whole rainbow, started jumping around and going crazy, and y'all made him rich because of it, y'all created that monster. Y'all got to deal with it. That's like a kid in the hood. Y'all keep telling him this is the way, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way.
And he's gonna go to it, right?
And when he's 19 years old, he got his gun in your stomach. You got to understand you created this monster.
Yeah.
You feel me? And you had the opportunity to show him something different. But this is what you chose to show him. And because of what you told him, you got a gun in your stomach right now. Mm. So people don't realize the influence we have as just an older presence in our communities. So when I come out every day in the summertime and I sit in the park with 5 basketballs and some cones, the kids see me as an outlet to do something constructive.
Yeah.
Now, if I sat in the corner with a book bag full of weed and I was giving out packs, somebody'd be trying to rob me soon. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm. Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Get money, right? But they like, why taking this little bit of money if I know he come in the park every day with a book bag full of work?
Yeah.
I might as well just take the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's about what you give off to these kids. And then they be mad, these little niggas is fuck ups. They XYZ, they XY this, XY that. He got his first pack. He got his first pistol out your crib. What did you think that was going to make him become a Harvard student?
Mm. Yeah, man. These type of things, Scott, people really don't think about. You know what I'm saying? It's like your influence matters. You know what I'm saying? Like me, you know, I come from Beekman, Beekman Avenue in the Bronx. I come from a neighborhood where there's a 4% graduation rate. You know, I didn't have a father in my life either, but, you know, I turned out pretty good. You know, I have a college degree. You know what I'm saying? You know, my mom, if it wasn't for my mother, only God knows where I would be right now. You know what I'm saying? Shout outs to my moms. But, yeah, all people, like, and I had plenty of role models as I was coming up from childhood to adulthood, you know? But, you know, all these kids need are stable role models. And for the kids growing up in these single parent households, sometimes all they need is one parent to love them. Because some kids, let's keep it real. Some kids in these 2-parent households, you know what I'm saying? Some kids in these 2-parent households, things be even worse.
You know, a whole lot worse. I think a lot of times, and this is just something that I learned just from experiences in life and just watching people with their kids and then having my own kids and taking a different approach. You got kids in 2-parent households who never see their parents. Mm. They constantly working. And they might have all the nice things, but they ain't never been taught nothing. See, a lot of times, in some cases, parents associate giving money and material things, and they'll substitute that with actually putting the time in to raise their kid. Or I bought him the Jordans, or I bought him an Xbox, or I bought him an iPhone. Mm. But your son gonna be 18 one day, and he ain't gonna know he can't go to that block because he's from this block. So like, there's real life you missing, and you try to mask with material things. And that's how a lot of these kids get caught up too, because when they first step outside and they first get off the porch, they easily influenced by everything because they ain't never seen nothing. Yeah, man. Like
some of the parents that I encounter every day, you know, at work, you know, we got parents that for one reason or another, like when they feel like once their kids turn 18, a certain age, It's like they feel like, yo, I'm tired of dealing with the kid with my child. Don't call me, da 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 da. Or they feel like they feel powerless. Like it kind of goes back to the song Things Done Changed on Biggie Small's first album. The part where he said, back in the days our parents used to take care of us. Look at them now. They even fucking scared of us. Calling the city for help because they can't maintain. Damn, things done changed.
Yeah, but it's the same shit today. The only thing is, it's gotten worse. You got parents out here living in a state of fear of their kids. Like, dreading the fact their kid come home. Or don't even have control of their own household. The kid does. Now, I mean, so I say to that parent, at what point did you stop raising your son? Because this just didn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You got a kid, for example, that you'll see, that you know your child. At the very least, you know your child. You know your son loves Power Rangers. But all of a sudden, he wearing red all the time now. You see the change. You just choose to say, oh, not my son. Couldn't be my son. Yes, your son. Yes, your daughter. No. You seen him coming in here with all red. You know his favorite color was blue.
Yeah. You know, and that's another sad reality of the hood, Scott. You know, a lot of parents, you know, they always say, oh, my child was when it comes to when the kid has died or that kid is locked up for whatever reason, they say, oh, my son was a good child. But what they don't realize is sometimes maybe they might have been the root of the cause of where their kids went wrong because of everything that you just mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't give them the attention that they wanted. Or basically, it could have been a bad relationship that drove these kids into doing what they're doing.
So for me, I like to speak from a personal perspective. I know for me, right? My mother did everything she could up to a certain point. She gave up on me a few times. I don't hold it against. Know what I mean? But she did everything she could to where if what I was doing became a detriment to the family, then she would disassociate. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say, I don't blame nobody for the decisions I made because I made them. But if things are handled differently in the household, then I don't feel comfortable making certain decisions. You understand what I'm saying? So I made sure with my kids, I make it very clear what's acceptable and what's unacceptable. And I deal with the unacceptable accordingly. And when they do something that's acceptable, I make sure I tip my hat to them or I show them some form of appreciation for doing things the right way. You might say, and I hear a lot of parents say, oh, I don't have to do nothing because he got good grades. He's supposed to do that. I pay the rent. Yes, you are. When you incentivize these things for these kids, that gives them a push. Every kid wants the new Jordans. Every kid wants the new Xbox. Every kid wants whatever new that's coming out. We buy enough liquor and smoke. We should be able to get our kids the Xbox or the PlayStation or a pair of Jordans. I seen people going Casamigos crazy this past 12, 14 months. Then I seen a lot of those same people lining up in front of the truck at the Christmas toy drive I did. So while y'all was going crazy all summer, y'all forgot y'all kids? Y'all forgot about them for Christmas? A lot of parents got their priorities in the wrong place. Try and press the gram instead of taking care of your kids. Then you wonder why your kid resents you. You're taking all these flights to Miami and your son got a hole in the bottom of his shoe. He ain't gonna fuck with you for too long. And don't be amazed when he's selling drugs. You left the little nigga out here with holes in his sneakers when you went to Miami, when you went to Atlanta.
That's real, man.
But that's the reality though. The kid out here to fend for himself, he gonna find a way. And what's the ways provided for us where we come from? The streets. Exactly. Then you come back, your little hiatus, when the stimulus money run out or whatever, and you wonder why your kid ain't the same kid you left.
Yeah.
Because he had a hole in his shoe when you left him. He was tired of that shit.
Right. Yeah, and then it's like going back to when we were talking about the school system, like, yeah, like my little brother, I'm glad that we got him at Hayes because, it's a great academic school, but more importantly, I wanted to get him out of the DOE system because as we've already seen, everything that's going on, you know, there's a lot of programs, alternative programs for these kids out there, like charter schools, Catholic schools, but a lot of parents, they don't seek the help to get their kids a better education. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, there are some great public schools in New York City, but for the majority, the majority of them, they really don't care about these kids. It's all about the funding. It's all about the money, and it's like there's a window like where certain months out of the year they have to have a certain number of kids in the school, or else they won't get their funding. But once they get that funding, they could care less whether the kids learn or not.
Yeah. So I actually got a kid in Hayes this past year. I found him a sponsor. He got some people to pay his tuition, and he's in Hayes now. He's a really bright kid too. And I didn't feel like it was right for him to go into the public school system because, like, the kid is exceptionally bright, and I'm a firm believer in nurturing the gifts of our young. And if your mind is your weapon, then we need to nurture that. Us as a community, we need to say, yo, this kid's really bright. He's been on the honor roll since he could walk and chew gum. This kid's been getting straight A's and A pluses since 3rd grade. Probably something special about this kid. Let's pool some money together and get this kid into this school here. And then let's see how he hacks it there. And if he continues this path, then we need to start pooling some money to make sure this kid go to one of them Ivy League schools.
Exactly.
Because we pool money together to drink and smoke every day. If we took half of that and put it into these kids, imagine the difference we make.
Yeah, man. Like I was saying before, I come from a block where 4% of us graduated from and went to college and graduated. I'm proud to say that I'm part of that 4%, man. The other 96%, well, we already know. We already know what happened to them, but I'd rather be a part of the 4%.
So that's even like with the AAU thing. I watch these programs, and I ain't gonna say no names because I don't want to blow nobody's horn up. I don't want to blow nobody's shit up. But I watch these programs carry an 18-man roster and genuinely care about 2 of them. And then the other 15, 16 kids fall by the wayside. And they end up in places like my park or Tippy's gym, trying to figure out a way to get to school. While you spent the last 4 or 5 years of your life running through a wall for this coach at this powerhouse AAU program.
And he did nothing for you in the end.
But because you ain't a kid like RJ Davis or AJ Griffin or Lance Stevenson or, one of those special guys, they could care less what happens to you when your clock runs out for them.
Exactly.
But then you got the 18, 19-year-old kid that's in my park now trying to find a juker. Or at Tippy's gym at 20 years old, he gave up on the game for 2 years. He then got shot, and he's trying to get back right. But he was really talented 2 years ago when he was running around with whatever program that was. And if y'all would have did right by him, he never get shot. And he'll never come across me, Tippy, or nobody like us.
But then let's say once that kid starts succeeding, like he even makes it to where the kid expected to be, all those old vultures come back around again, trying to be that kid's friend.
What I consider myself is the alternative school for city basketball. Know what I mean? So when nobody else wants you and you ran your course with whoever you ran your course with, and you find out they didn't care about you, you end up in my park, bro. I'm telling you. I had hundreds of kids coming. I don't have a gym. I don't get no funding. Won't nobody help me help these kids? Because these are the kids that everybody wrote off already. So to reach back and help me help a kid you wrote off already, you look crazy. That's why they won't help me.
Yeah, man.
You understand what I'm saying? That's like me saying, yo, that kid's a piece of shit, throwing him under the bus, Then you reach out to me, yo, Dave, I need your help with this kid. I already threw him under the bus. I can't help you or that kid now.
Yeah.
Feel me? So that's where you get the naysayers. Oh, it's this, it's that. He's doing this, he's doing that. All my kids in school. Every kid that came to my park this past summer that asked for my help, they in school today. Every last one of them. Even kids people said I couldn't get in school. Yo, that kid grades are so bad, you can't get them in no school nowhere. There's a school for everyone.
Exactly.
Everyone.
But also the kids have to be willing to put that work in. And also on top of that, there has to be somebody willing to put in that time with them.
If a kid can come to your practice for 3 hours, 3 days a week, right? It takes 5 minutes to say, yo, bro, I need a progress report from your teachers, man. If I can't get that, you can't play, because how am I supposed to get you to the next level? Yeah, you can play pretty good, but how am I supposed to get you to the next level if your grades ain't right? So let me get a progress report. See what your grades like. Let me get one a month. Bro, I run a league out of my park, and the kids that play for me, they all in good academic standing. It sets a standard. It sets a precedent. You got to understand you're a student athlete, brother. Yeah. The student come first. There's no athletics without the student part. But y'all will do just enough for these kids to get over through the high school career. And then when they go to clearinghouse, they get smacked. And they end up in Wisconsin at some JUCO. And you don't care. Unless he have 2 good years there and he end up on a D1 stage, then y'all care again. I hate this.
Real. Yeah, man.
I hate the direction that a lot of these older cats get these kids in this city.
No, man. We all know some of the same people. We ain't gotta name no names. We know who they are. But yeah, that's real, man. that's just the reality of the city that we're living in. You know what I'm saying? Like New York City United. I know that they tried to do this this thing where they called New York City United, where a lot of people were trying to get together, but I think part of that was the reason for that was because there wasn't any basketball going on last summer, AAU-wise, or a lot of tournaments.
Talking about that whole New York City basketball committee
thing? Yeah.
I'm not as optimistic as everybody else is.
Me either.
I don't know how that works when a lot of those parties don't even like each other.
That's my point right there. It's like,
like each other for some time. This is not a new dislike. This is 15, 20 years worth of dislike.
Right.
And not down at the table and take orders from one individual that y'all don't like. How's that going to work long term? How is this the best thing for the city?
Exactly. Like I've learned in life to see things as they are, to see things for what they really are. Like it sounds good in theory, but are people really going to carry this out? That's what it all counts. That's where it all counts in the end.
This is the reality of our city right now. Okay? And I'm going to give it to you point blank simple. I don't care if you're Dykeman. I don't care if you're Westforth. I don't care if you're Rucker. I don't care if you're Watson. If you get that guy Cha-Ching to bring his microphone to your park, the city comes out.
That's true.
So at the end of the day, what people need to understand is that man, that's who needs to be a part of that committee. He got the pulse on what's going on out here.
Right.
Whether people like it or not. He got the pulse on what's going on out here. With all the players from this area that the committee want to get their hands on. Why he not sitting at the table?
Like Dave is not
3, 4, 6, 7, 10,000 people come out to Dykeman every day in the summer.
Yeah.
It's because they want to hear that. Give me 3, Cha-Ching. They want to hear that.
Right.
The games ain't been that entertaining, especially the adult games. They ain't been that entertaining the past couple of years. High school done took this city over.
It has. That's the truth. And I will say this. Unlimited, as we used to know it, is fading out. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not really Unlimited is not really like the marquee anymore. Like, I remember when I was 15 or 16, I used to love watching the unlimited games because they were like really that was the real deal. But now you see 10 years later, you see how everything has shifted and high school has become more marketable.
I think, in all honesty, a lot of the guys, the top guys, don't want to play outside no more.
Right.
Like when I was coming up, it was an honor to go out there and play in the summertime, to play against those guys. You know what I mean? To play against Gary Irvins, the Kiki Clarks. You know what I mean? All these guys that came up, the T2s. Like you wanted to go out there. Like that was the proving ground.
Right.
You know what I mean? For us in the city, shit don't matter no more.
Yeah, those guys are older. Some of them are no longer playing, or some of them are in their last legs.
Okay. When I played against Sat for the first time,
right,
he was older. But my generation, my wave was that next generation of players. Like I'm around Curtis Kelly in them age. You know what I mean? So that generation was the next wave of players that came out of the city and kept city street ball going. After that generation and that wave, you kind of seen less and less of the top guys doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. So that's where like it really hurt the unlimited, because you could go to Dykeman one day, see Kemba Walker out there. The next game, you can see Kyle Anderson and 2 other NBA guys playing. It's not like that no more.
Right. I'm going to tell you why. From the NBA perspective, these guys are worth millions of dollars. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, they've got, not only do they have the GMs telling them not to, the front office of their organizations telling them not to play, but they got people in their circle, you know what I'm saying? Their agents or whoever talking to them, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, they're responsible for feeding other people. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are not going to want to see their money train go down. So that's the reason why they're not playing in these street ball tournaments like that anymore.
You can say that, but back in the G, the same rules applied. What happened was, the NBA player, like I played with Kemba Walker when he was in the league in a few of these street leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the same Kemba Walker you see on TV playing in Watson Park or Dykeman Park.
Right.
He knows that, and he's playing accordingly. But him stepping on the court does a lot for that situation. So he does it. Not to say he's going to go play with the same intensity he's playing against the Brooklyn Nets with in Dykeman Park, but he's going to come out, and he'll give you a flash or two. And that's all the people want. You understand what I'm saying? They don't want to see. It would be unrealistic for somebody that understands the game to say, "Yo, I want to see Kemba go for 50 today in Dykeman."
That ain't realistic.
He's an all-star in the NBA, and he's out here because this is what we want to see. If he give us 6 points and he run up and down, he's here. He could be anywhere else. He ain't got to be here.
Right.
He ain't nothing for this shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's just, and I'm happy that a lot of the parks are coming back because we really, really, really need this, man. We need that for our youth. Because last year there was a lot of violence going down in the streets. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people passed away. Rest in peace to Brandon Hendricks, man. That was a really, really sad loss for the city, man. Particularly the Bronx. It really pained me to see him go down. Like I was at his last high school game. You know what I'm saying? He was on the big things, man.
It's a very sad situation. And what I did like to see on the back end was people try to do something positive with his name.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know now his community will have something every summer in his honor.
Right.
And that's an outlet that's going to keep kids away from dying, bro.
Yeah.
My tournament that I do on my side, it'll probably never be big. But I get 200-300 kids in there every week, and they not dying. So
he's safe.
That's big in itself. So now they got their outlet. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of other different communities following suit and doing something similar or starting to do more events and giving back more. So maybe it set a switch off in some adults saying, yo, we got to do more for these kids if we don't want them to die. Mm-hmm. If we don't want that to be our son or our daughter, maybe we need to get out here and start doing some shit for these kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I did see a lot of that after that happened. And it's sad that it took his death to kind of get the ball rolling in that direction, but it did.
Like even with when the pandemic started, you know, I saw a lot of adults, they were pretty merely thinking about themselves, man. Like, oh, I don't want to get sick, this, that, and the third. Like, but then I think after that, after his death, that's when, I think about a week later, that's when they put the rims back up.
I'm not going to take no credit for that, but I probably should, but I'm not. Mm-hmm. That's another story for another day.
Yeah.
But throughout that whole process of the pandemic and everything like that, the rims was down in my hood for about a week.
Yeah.
I bought rims and I forced their hand to put them up in my hood. Mm-hmm. And I threw a tournament during the pandemic last summer. You know what I mean? Y'all gonna send these kids outside to die. I'll take the risk with us playing ball. Mm-hmm. At least I know nobody gonna die here. My whole hood will be in this park and ain't nothing gonna go wrong. Mm-hmm. As soon as they put my rims back up, I started doing clinics and just opening up, doing workouts in there. You had kids coming from all over the city. Know what I mean? While everybody else was being selfish. We wasn't charging. None of that shit that these cats do. Just understanding the circumstance in the street right now and saying, yo, what can we do to combat that? Let's go buy some rims. Let's go buy some basketballs. I use my social media to tell people we doing workouts in our park. And I tell all the little kids I know that rock with me already to tell their friends. And that was something we was doing every day. And something as small as that will save a kid life. That's what people don't realize. All he needed is a place to go. So he don't go to that corner. You understand what I'm saying? So if there's an outlet in the park, he's going to stop there because he really don't want to go to that corner. But if there's nothing else, he's going to venture down there and see what they do.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, man, it's crazy. But yeah, going back to your story. So where did you go to college at? And did you play ball over there?
Hold on.